Rebel on the radio, baby.
Hello, hello.
William, how are you getting on, mate? You all right?
Hey, doing all right. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect.
Well, I'm sure you've been doing a lot of these like this, and you're probably dealing with a lot of people that don't know exactly what they're doing on these things. So,
well, I'll be honest with you. This is a second one I've done. And before the lockdown and all this sort of stuff happened, I'd never used like video chat and things like this. It's not really my thing, but it's a means to an end, I suppose.
No, that's true. We use the tools we have at our disposal. And actually, you know, living now in this time, we're kind of equipped to be doing this stuff, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think I've thought about it so many times in terms of I would never have even thought to message you to say, would you mind having a chat for the radio show if it weren't for all the things that have happened?
Well, it's like I know you're home.
you must be about, yeah. So let's give you a quick ring. But how have you got on with all the lockdown and stuff like that? Because I know you live on a farm, and it's a little bit different to maybe the lockdown that you'd have if you were in a city. So how's it been for you?
Yeah, you know, I've been thinking about that a lot. How this is affecting different people in different ways, and I'm always quick to be weary of how it's affected. Gosh, you know, the heroes that are in the hospitals and on the front lines helping people out, and the poor families that have lost people and loved ones that are sick, and just always want to remember that. And but you know, personally, I'm pretty lucky because having some acreage, being on the farm. You know, I just had a baby 7 months ago, and
congrats.
so thank you. And so that the cool thing has been that I've been able to be home with my wife and baby girl. So that's been cool, and having an acreage to walk around on and get outside and, you know, be with the animals and be with the garden. I'm pretty lucky.
Different
pretty
life.
lucky. Yeah. So I want to always, the caveat, I always want to like acknowledge how lucky that is, because I've got friends that live in New York City and different, you know, in cities where the scene is a lot different, you know, and they might have a tiny, or in London or, you know, anywhere where you might have not a very big space to be in, and, you know, getting to the park might not be that easy. And
Definitely.
And so I'm always like, just feel so fortunate.
You absolutely. I mean, it's been so difficult for so many different people, and I mentioned there like the people working in the health sector and all that sort of stuff. And at the moment as well, you've got this election going on in America, and I just had to ask, because you've got quite a bit of political sort of sense to some of your music, and this must be a time where you're thinking, there's some writing to be done here. That's got to be on your mind. Yeah,
there's always grist for the mill, as they say. You know, when you're a writer, well, anything. Gosh, I'd imagine a painter or a photographer or anything. If you're looking to create, you're looking for that fodder. And sometimes you're not even looking for it. It just hits you upside the head. So yeah, for sure. Right now, I mean, as over there too, gosh, I mean, you know, you're no stranger to, you know, political upheaval and of course, but right, you know, right now we got this election going on, and they're still counting votes, and
it's a bit wild, isn't it? It's going to be coming to an end in the next, maybe few hours, I'm guessing. But
I hope so. But yeah, it's always you're always thinking, ooh, there's a song there, there's something there.
Does that leak into the music? Because I mean, Animals in the Dark, I've always thought it's my personal favorite album, just because that's when I really got to know you as an artist. And I found that quite a political album. When you're listening back now to it, it's unbelievable. It's so poignant at the moment. It's ridiculous. Like some of the Old Devils sort of lyrics and stuff like that. It's so in the moment. Do you think that was it a political album?
Yeah, it definitely was. That was written during the George W. Bush years.
Yeah.
When gosh, it seems so quaint now, and to look back on that, where gosh, he almost seems harmless compared to what we got now. But that was we didn't know what else to do besides I didn't know what else to do besides write about it. And a lot of my heroes have been have done a lot of good work in that realm. Like, I'm thinking Billy Bragg and the Clash, or Public Enemy, or gosh, Woody Guthrie, Bob Dylan,
Definitely.
and so that definitely was my attempt at, without standing on a soapbox too much, to express my thoughts on the political landscape, and to have it sort of be evergreen in a way that is actually, it's too bad, but you just think, like, since time began and from now on, there's going to be these corrupt politicians and stuff. I wish it wasn't applicable now, but it sure seems like it.
It sure seems like it. I've never met, I've met many politicians, if any, but I haven't seen many really honest ones. They seem to like to say what you want to hear, and then it all changes. But I was wondering with you, though, Animals in the Dark, that was probably what, 2009, 10?
Yeah,
that era.
2009. Yeah.
So you've done now about, what, 8 to 10 albums, because you've got a couple of self-release ones in the early days. Where did it all start? The first thing I want to ask you about is, was it the banjo or the guitar? Which did you learn first?
First, I learned the guitar, because my dad had an old Sears and Roebuck acoustic sitting around, and I became enamored with that at a young age, but, didn't really, my hands weren't big enough to really wrap around the neck yet. But then around age, 12 or 13, I started learning a couple chords on that. And my grandpa played the guitar too, and he also played the banjo. And so right alongside that, it was technically guitar first, but the banjo was right behind it. Because I thought, a lot of these chords kind of translate over to the banjo, and that quickly became another thing I was just really fascinated with. And at that time, in that realm, I didn't see a lot of people using the banjo outside the traditional bluegrass realm or whatever. So I thought, if I could kind of take that and turn it on its ear a little bit, I'd really have something. But yeah, my grandpa was from the Ozark Mountains, and so a lot of that old time music was a big influence, and the banjo and guitar. But yeah, technically the acoustic first.
And then the vocals. Did you start writing songs soon after you learned to play the guitar, or was it a little bit of a time before you started writing your own sort of music?
Yeah, I started writing not too long after learning a couple chords.
Right.
And because I was always into, my mother wrote poetry, and just sort of in notebooks for nobody, just for her own edification. And I found out later, my grandmother and great grandmother, I found poetry of theirs in old notebooks and stuff. So so there was always poetry and a lot of books around, even as a young kid. Brilliant. So I used to love to make up little rhymes and little poems and stuff. And so after I learned the guitar, it wasn't too long before I thought, here's the marriage of these two things. I could write a simple song. Yeah. And it really, just awful stuff at the beginning. That's the way it is. But that's okay. That's all right, Anyone that's being truthful is going to say that. It's like,
of course. It was a shambles. But but when you got going and you went, because I read it that you went on tour with a couple of bands, sort of supporting and stuff like that. But was there a moment where you thought, right, something's happening here, I'm getting noticed, things are really moving forward? Was there a point like that?
Yeah, after I had been on the road with my friend's band, being a roadie, and that's probably what you have read.
Yeah, that's right.
I was
that's
like,
right.
And they were my buddies, and we were like, well, we'll hit the road, and I'll help carry your amps, but I'll bring my banjo too. And they were like, hey, play a couple songs at the beginning of the set, because we were doing just DIY. Some clubs, but a lot of DIY spaces, and no one, it didn't really matter. Hey, our buddy's going to jump up there with the banjo. So I started doing that. And so I got my 10,000 hours, doing that before anyone really cared that much. And then it was this record label called Southern Records, and they were out of London, but they had a Chicago branch too. and it was a show in Chicago where a couple of them came out to check out the other band that I was with, and they liked me too. And so the next day we went and met with them, and I signed up a contract with them. Not long after that, but it was cool because I was already ready. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
When you hear old stories about like the Beatles in Hamburg, and then by the time it was when it was time for them to shine, they were ready, and I'm not at all comparing myself to the Beatles.
No,
I just mean
why not?
That always stuck with me, because when it was time, the spotlight got put on them. They were a machine. I mean, they were ready, So that's how to a lesser degree, that's how I felt. I was like, oh, I can do this. I could. So that was kind of cool, and then it just slowly built from there.
And it built from there, and then you moved labels a few times, haven't you? Because I've read about that as well. And this new record's out on Bloodshot Records. This album, to me, though, it's got some real deep songs. And you've always had the deep records, but History and Save Ourselves, I think they're my two favourites. Was there an aim with this one, or are you just sort of writing and it just came together? Or did you go, I'm going to release an album in 2020, I'm going to put it together now? Is it that structured?
Sort of. There's a little bit of that where you think, okay, yeah, my record before this was cover songs that I really liked, that I wanted to do, but all the while I was writing new stuff, and I did sort of have a method to it that was like, okay, it was supposed to come out last May.
Right.
Of course, that didn't work out, but there was an idea that it'll come out in 2020, and I was kind of writing what's around me, and that's why there's some slightly political songs on this one too. I mean, a song like History is definitely influenced by our current situation here, and not just. I mean, I can only speak as what I see here in the States, but it's. There's things happening all over, man. But history, just not repeating our mistakes, and as a society, and as an individual too. Gosh, we seem to take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and it just so that had that had to do with that, and then Save Ourselves was when tragedies happen, and when there's political upheaval and unrest, and I do see goodness where I see people helping each other out, and trying to be good to their fellow neighbors and fellow people. And I just think, okay, the change might not come from on high. It might have to come from us down here, so to speak. And so that was that thought. There's some political things. Yeah. And then, there's death, and there's life, and birth, and that's all mixed in there too.
That was another question I had, actually, which might be a bit deep, but I know you lost your parents quite a long time back now. But did that have a big influence on your music going forward?
Yeah, those first 3 records that were on Southern pretty much are all about that.
Right.
And it was, just using art to deal with what's going on in your mind.
In a writing process, though, do you have a process, or do you just pick up the guitar and sit down and have a bit of a muck about and go, oh, this is sounding good, and write some lyrics? Or do you, because I know you do a cappella as well, so do you sometimes just write a few lines, like sort of poetry, and then put some music around it? How does it work for you?
That's usually what it is. It's filling up notebooks with ideas and snippets, and little might be 2 or 3 lines that, like, okay, I could build that out. And then I actually really enjoy the nuts and bolts of it. I enjoy kind of breaking it apart, and it's, to me, it's not magic. Like Prince famously said, they're like, oh, what you do is magic. Someone said, and he said, it's not magic, it's hard work. It doesn't just always come to you. So I enjoy telling people, like, you might start with 1 line, and then, okay, I'll build that out, and this could connect to that, and this, it's a process, and you put your butt in the seat, and you do it, and then the music for me comes later, because I'm not that great of a guitar player or banjo player or anything, so it's going to be like basic chords, but to me the lyrics are what matters.
Definitely.
But you try to keep it, put these chords in a different order, maybe that'll do something. But the words first.
Whatever you're doing, it works. I'll tell you that much. And the other thing is, obviously, the way things are at the moment, I was assuming you'd be on the road now promoting the album. But do you really like going on the road? Do you enjoy that, or do you prefer being at home?
I need both in my life. I've realized after being on the road on and off for like 20 years now, which is crazy to think about.
Such a long time.
I need both. I get that itch where I got to get out, and I do like seeing people and talking to people. That's kind of one of the joys of it too, is just meeting all types of folks and seeing that, man, we have a lot in common all over the world. You know, I always love that. And just playing and having fun. And then, to be totally honest, there reaches a time when it's like, okay, time to get back to the farm, man. I gotta recharge my battery, and I'm kind of done with this road for a little while. But it's that pendulum swing. You know, I wouldn't want to be home all the time. I wouldn't want to be on the road all the time.
I can get that. I think some people just love going out there, don't they? They can't live in a routine. And
we call those people Frank Turner.
Right. Okay.
No, I always think of Frank because I did some tours with him, right. And I would look at his schedule, and I thought I was on the road a lot. I thought, shoot, this is nothing. Frank, I don't think he even has a home, man. I think
I also
that dude is just on the road all the time. It's awesome.
Bit like Lemmy from Motorhead. I think he was one of those sort of guys. In fact, I was going to say, because on that Killanova album, you did a ZZ Top song, and it's quite interesting. That do you like listening to different sorts of sort of rock and roll, punk, and all that sort of stuff, or do you quite set on folk and things like that revolve around the acoustic guitar?
Oh, I love all different type of music. I mean, Motorhead is classic. In fact, I was just listening to some Motorhead not that long ago, and it just makes me so happy. And and like a band like ZZ Top, and a couple of badass 3-piece bands, man, right there, doing two different things. But you know, Motorhead always bridged that great gap between punk and metal. Like, I don't know if there's a better example of like that, just that bridge between punk and metal that just makes me so happy. But
I love it.
Weird, like weird heavy music. And like, I'm a fan of like a lot of hip hop even. You know, I like good creative hip hop and then country and old time. Of course,
it's a real mixed bag of stuff on your playlists.
And because there's so much. I mean, you start diving into things and you realize that you're just it's a drop in the ocean, man. There's just an ocean out there, and you can look at it as like a nice thing for the rest of your life. You could discover all this great new stuff. I just discovered this new band.
I was going to ask.
They're not
next
new.
Question is, is there anything we should be listening to? Because I like hearing this sort of stuff. Like, I'm always looking for new stuff to listen to. So go on.
Yeah. So I'm the same. I'm always kind of. I want to hear what people are digging on and stuff. So the first thing I was going to say, they're not a new band. It's their records came out in like the early to mid 70s, and this band called Witch from Africa. Yeah, Witch, and it stands for We Intend to Cause Havoc, and right. they're from Africa, and it was part of this scene. I think I did a little studying on it, and it was called the Zamrock scene. And it was this great example of cross-pollination of cultures where, these kids from Africa, I can't remember which country, but, heard some Rolling Stones records and we're like, okay, like we want to try to do this, but then done through their lens, and what they end up doing is even weirder and cooler, or just different. And so check out Witch. And there's a new band called Witch that has Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. on the drums. They're good too, but it's more like stoner metal. But check out Witch, man, from early to mid 70s. Just really pleasing. And again, it just it's like reggae and ska and things like, these people hearing, American records and then doing their own spin on it. And I like that cross-pollination of cultures, man.
Definitely. I mean, that's what makes it good. I mean, that's what makes music evolve, and the different stuff comes together, and it sort of creates this new thing. There's a band that I was listening to recently talking about new music, Songs Ohio.
Oh yeah! Oh great! Yeah.
I don't know if you. The thing is, I just stumbled across them. Started having to listen.
Was Jason Molina the?
That's the bloke. Yeah.
Yeah. So he Yeah. So I knew him kind of. I mean, through the touring and music scene.
Yeah.
He passed away like 7 or 8 years ago
It was a
now.
few years back. Yeah, he was a young guy though to die, wasn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
I did
he
read
had
about that.
he had a troubled life, but just a sweetheart of a guy. And if you start diving into his stuff, Songs Ohio is great. Magnolia Electric
That's the
Company,
one. Yeah.
and then he did a bunch of stuff under his own name, but great songwriter. But yeah, isn't that fun? Don't you love
I do. Well,
diving in, finding new shit?
Absolutely. And when you find it, it's such a buzz. When you're at home though, do you sort of do any rehearsing? So if you're going on a tour, do you ever go, I better learn this song again and have a little play around with it and then get back out? Or do you just play new stuff? And when you go on the road, it just sort of, I don't know, you just get used to playing it during that tour?
I never used to practice or anything because I was on the road so much that it was just, every show was you just were a well-oiled machine, you know. But then as I started to tour a little less and, you know, maybe be at home for a couple months and then have to go back out, I actually, now I will, of course, not now it's weird times right now, but like when I do hit the road again, I will definitely practice like old stuff and just refresh my memory. Like I've got enough songs now where I kind of do have to go, wait, how does that one go again?
Right.
And so because I want to be able to play anything at any time. You know, I read this cool thing about Fugazi, another group of heroes, man.
Good band, yeah.
That Ian MacKaye would say, like, we are ready to play any of our songs at any time. And I just thought, oh, that just stuck with me. So when someone shouts out a song or whatever, I want to be able to do it. And along with new stuff too. But I love playing the old shit too. I'll never get tired of that.
I think.
But hell, I'll even take it a step further, and I'm in good shape or whatever. But I'll get like my cardio going before a tour. I'll like get the bicycle out and get my lungs really opened up, and because playing for 2 hours every night is a real workout. And so the cardio, like I'll be training like a boxer or something. I'll be out on the bicycle, and it really helps my singing.
It's just you on the stage though, isn't it? So you've got to hold that audience. And I remember watching you, I was going to say, I sent you that picture of me and you and a couple of my friends in 2011 in Bristol. And you've got an energy on the stage. You've got to be sort of in shape a bit to just breathe properly.
Yeah. And it's that's funny. Yeah. You sent that pic. I loved seeing that because it brought me back to that time, and it was just really fun, man. I used to come to England a lot, and I need to get my ass back there, man.
Oh, definitely.
But those shows were so fun. And you sending me that old pic was really cool because again, like meeting you, like, isn't that cool, man? Like meeting all those years ago, and then here we are talking like that. I love that stuff. And when I see you again, we'll have a beer and we'll talk it all over.
Definitely,
I love it. But yeah, you're right. You kind of gotta. I can't take a break while the guitarist does a solo or whatever. Just to learning how to breathe, like you said. Like I used to not think about that stuff, and then like you do a lot better job if you learn how to. How to move and how to breathe efficiently. It's weird. It's stuff you don't think about when you're younger, and then as you get older, you're like, I need to like use my body like efficiently.
Yeah, well, I used to smoke, and then I stopped smoking about 2 years ago, and I thought that has to be stopped because I couldn't sort of breathe as well. I play tunes myself. In fact, William, I nicked your idea for a guitar when I watched you with the brown guitar. I went and bought my own. And that was back in 2011. I don't know if you can see me.
Oh, the D15, baby. Oh, with the LR Bags pickup.
I even got the pickup you got. That was, I've had that since that gig, more or less.
Oh, good.
I sold an amp, saved me money, sold an amp, and went and bought one of those because you had one. I was, that is a cool looking guitar. And I could never find a guitar that I wanted that much. I thought they all looked the same. The acoustics were all sort of
right.
Followed by
that's got that nice mahogany body, and it just looks different, and they sound really good for like it's the more affordable Martin. Like I couldn't have afforded a D28 or whatever, but the D15's kind of within my reach, and 100%. It's a good road beater. I mean, I don't have to feel sensitive about like kind of tossing it around a little bit, you know.
Yeah, that's
Oh, but
right.
that makes me happy. That makes me happy that you got that.
That's why I got it, and that's exactly what you just said. Because I looked at it and I thought, I'll look at it, but I probably won't be able to afford it. And I thought, no, if I'm really good here, I reckon I could get that one in about 6 months, and I did.
It's within your reach, you know.
Yeah, I bought it in 2012, and I think I saw you in 2011, so, and that was it. And the only other thing I wanted to ask you was when I think it was a few years before that, you did Jules Holland in England.
Yeah, that would have been
TV.
09. Yep,
Which
that was
the
on that.
biggest TV show though in Jules Holland in the UK by miles for music. Even back then, it still is now, I suppose. I don't even know if they might have not do it at the moment, but I just wondered how that was. Like, do you remember much about that?
Oh man, that was so much fun. Yeah, that was on that Animals in the Dark when I was touring on that, and that kind of came up. I was in Europe at the time, and it sort of came up at the last minute, and my people said, hey, could you stay a couple more days and do this show, the Jules Holland show? And it's like, oh man, it's not at that time, especially, it wasn't as popular over here. Now you can get it on cable channels, and but at that time I wasn't as aware of it.
Yeah,
but I knew his name and his place in music and stuff, and I thought, oh man, that sounds fun. And so stayed a couple more days to do that. And it was a real trip. I only got to meet him for just a second. Of course, he's the master of ceremonies,
just
so he's got a lot to do,
doesn't he?
Yeah, so I didn't expect to have a lot of time with anyone or whatever. But he, very nice, very cool dude. You can tell he just loves music. And when I was on there, Madness was on there, which I always loved. They were really nice to me. They were sharing their drinks with me and stuff. It's like,
that's cool. That's really good, isn't it?
I was tripping out on that. It's freaking Suggs, man. But they were cool, and then I got to meet Yusuf,
Cat Stevens,
previously known as Cat Stevens, who was really, really nice and cool. He's always been kind of a hero.
That is an absolute hero. I'm sure that he's brilliant, isn't he?
Man. And so it was really, really fun. And even though I was kind of the no name on the deal, but they were just really cool to me and really nice. And I want everyone that watches that show to realize that, like, that guy means it, man. He's just a music fan, and you can just even tell by watching. He just loves it. But yeah, I don't know if they're taping those right now. I don't know how you would do it, but
I don't know. I was in the audience once for that about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was great. Like the way they did it, I really liked it. And I noticed where you were sort of in the middle, on your own as you are with the guitar. The reaction to it from that crowd in there was brilliant. It went down so Old Devils you played.
Yeah. Oh, it was so fun. And I was nervous because I didn't know how it would be received, but people did really dig it. And I should have known better because you're there, it's the whole thing about it is it's different types of music. And I shouldn't have been nervous, but people were into it, and it was really fun.
That's exactly right. People they're music fans. They want to hear different things. That's brilliant. It's good to hear that. And the other thing was what made me laugh was you don't bother with social media at all. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't, and I'm lucky that I just missed the boat on it. I'm 42. I'm not like super old, but I'm just old enough where I just missed the boat on it, and I don't care about it. And but I get that you kind of have to have some kind of presence in order to, if you're trying to play music or whatever. So I'm lucky. My wife, because it was my wife that passed on the message from you. She's an angel. She helps me get the messages I need, because I do want to talk to people. I'm not like too cool for it. It's not that. I just missed the boat on it. Now I'm not going to learn it right now, man.
You haven't missed much, William. I can tell you now, you have not missed much. It's in England. We say the word tosh, full of old tosh, full of old rubbish.
I like that. I like that. I learned the best. You guys have the best grasp on language and expressions. I love that so much. But yeah, and I know there's good stuff in there too, and people can reach out to their friends, and there is good stuff too. But gosh,
it's sort of a necessity for some things, and music sort of one of them. If you're an actor trying to break through now, I think you need it a little bit.
But yeah, I tell people to write me a letter. On my website is my PO, my post office box,
and that's the one.
I said, yeah, people like write me a letter, man. Put pen to paper, and I will write you back. I promise. And so I've got people that I'm pen pals with. You know, that I love sitting down and writing a letter.
I might write you one now, William, just to see if you reply. You have to keep.
Hey, let's get it going. Yeah, we can, you know, do the snail mail thing.
My last question is a big one, because yesterday on the show I played a little clip from Gene Simmons, I think it was, of all people, saying, you know, the music industry's dead. Very negative. So I thought I'll ask you, what's your view on the music industry at the moment and as it is? Because it's a tough nut to crack, to say the least.
Yeah, you know, Gene Simmons, what a complicated character. I would disagree with him on a lot of things, I'm sure.
I'm sure you would, yeah.
But no, I mean, whatever. Hey, he's who he is, man. That's Gene. All right. But nope, that's okay. I want Gene Simmons to be Gene Simmons, man. He needs to be exactly who he is. But you know, as far as the industry goes, it's just changed. It's not dead at all. That's crazy. He's an old man. I mean, like, there's nothing against old men or whatever, but from his point of view, like, it probably is dead to him. He you know,
he's killed it. He's selling Kiss coffins, for Christ's sake. What on earth? I mean, he couldn't drain another penny out of it if he tried. I mean, he's done everything, hasn't he?
Yeah, you're the problem, Gene. Come on. But it's just changed. And, you know, and even in my time on this earth, I've just, you see enough change and go, okay, that's okay. We adapt with the change. There's always going to be great music coming out. Even if you can't wrap your mind around the concept of like a SoundCloud rapper, for instance, just as an example of like a new, you know, kind of a new concept, you know, like, oh, but it's great. You know, these people putting out stuff they recorded in their bedroom, and now it can have this worldwide audience. So that is exciting. But it does take the capital I industry, it maybe in a good way. It kind of just takes the piss out of it, man, to use an expression. It just takes it down a peg, man. It brings it back down to the people in a way. But believe me, I've struggled with it too. Like, oh man, I wish you know, the days of selling like 1 million records, unless you're like Adele or somebody really big. Yeah. She's great, by the way.
Adele, very good.
You know, she deserves to sell all the records in the world. But, you know, unless you're that caliber, that ain't happening. So you just roll with it and go with it. So no, it's not dead, man. It's just changing. And that's okay. You know, the history of recorded music actually is not that long. I mean, you know, I'm thinking maybe you could get wax cylinders, and then, you know, maybe records in 78s became widely available in like the 20s, 30s, I don't know. But really, you know, these 50, 60, 70 years, it was recorded music that you buy. But before that, for thousands of years, it was, you went and saw somebody play, man. Yeah. Whether it was in a cathedral or out in the field or out somewhere, like, for thousands of years, man. Or you went and saw somebody, and then recorded music. That's actually kind of this little blip in history, man. So the fact that, okay, records aren't going to sustain you, but that's okay. We'll play shows, man. We'll get out among the people. And the people that do want records, I do like physical media. I like albums. I see you have like LPs. Yep.
I've got this classic here. You see this?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I'm so proud of that.
It's so a great album. It's fantastic. I'll tell you one, I'm not too happy though. I bought a Noel Gallagher one once when I went to watch him. I got home and it was fucking blank. I mean, you can't believe that. It's a blank vinyl. I'm going to write him a message, a strongly worded letter. Eventually,
wait a minute. With no grooves cut in it?
Yeah, it's got nothing in it.
Was he having was it a joke? Was he like,
no, it's no joke.
Like a big middle finger, or was it just a mistake?
It's this one here, this High Flying Birds.
Great. Yeah.
I went to, it's a great album if you've got it.
If there's
there's nothing on it. You could see the light on it.
Yeah.
It's just smooth.
How is that even possible?
Well, this side's got like a single on, but underneath it's got some sort of Oasis thing on. So I reckon.
Wait a minute, that is so strange.
Yeah, and that was from the legitimate stand. I've kept it all these years. Bought that in 2011 as well. I stopped going to gigs after that. I thought, what a waste of time. Forgive me.
Man. Yeah, damn. Well, that's too bad.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, I'm like you, man. I like the 7 inches and physical medium.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people that do want the actual art piece. You know, if you look at it like a piece of art, you know. But no, music industry is not dead. It's just changed a lot. And that's okay. That's
we'll
okay.
definitely help and keep it alive. The new album's great, Will. And thanks so much for sitting down and having a chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for getting a hold of me. Let's do this again anytime.
Definitely.
And like I said, when we meet again, we'll have a beer and we'll solve some problems, man. We'll solve the world's problems.
I'm already trying.
Well,
thanks
I tell
very
you
much,
what,
Will.
you joke, but you're spreading the good word, man. You know what you're doing in like good radio and good, you know, getting the word out there. You're doing the good work, man. I want to tell you that you're doing the good shit, man.
I pick the bands that I like and the music that I like, and I'm approaching different people. I mean, I'm in Bristol in the UK, and that is sort of the world that I was getting people into the studio, local bands, unknowns, and just having a chat and having a bit of fun. We play some games and stuff like that. And then I was going to New York and I was going to do an interview with Low Cut Connie. And I ended up doing it like this. And I thought, well, if I can do an interview like that with them, I'll give a few others a message that I might. And you were the next one on my list. I was thinking, you've released an album. Let's see. You might not be up for it. You might be up for it. Let's see what happens. So
I appreciate it, man. I love it. I love it. Right. And because it was, and especially when you sent that pic and it just brought back some good memories, man. And and you said you talked to probably Adam.
Yeah.
See, I know I played some shows with them, and he's a good boy. He's a proper front man.
Yeah, definitely.
They're a great rock and roll band.
Yeah, they came to Bristol and
they'll burn the house down, man.
It was great. There was only about 40 people in there, Will, and they took it apart. It was like, I don't care if there's no one in. And I asked him that on the interview, and I said, does it matter? And he went, I don't care if there's 3 people there.
Yep, I will stand on my piano and shake my butt, man.
He's
I
don't do whatever he wants, but I mean, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, and let's do this again.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Will. You take it easy, man.
All right, be well.
Thank you, mate. Bye.